How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about the strength to quit drinking alcohol comes from persistence. Now, Bruce Lee, one of my heroes from my childhood, said that strength doesn't come from physical capacity, it comes from indomitable will. When we were doing Taekwondo, I did Taekwondo about, I suppose it must be 10, 12 years ago now with my son, and we did it for 4 or 5 years. And one of the tenets of Taekwondo, the particular Taekwondo that we did, was that you had to have an indomitable will. This was sort of taught into us no matter what we were doing in the classroom. It was persisting and pushing through, regardless of sort of what your opponent was or how tired you were. And you know, it really helped. I mean, I used to feel, coming out of the Taekwondo classes, I'd go and do a day's work and I'd be knackered by the time I got back home. But then, you know, Sean would be going, yeah, come on, we're going to Taekwondo, yeah, no worries. And I'd go in and I'd feel tired going in, but after the classes I always felt exhilarated, you know, and it was a weird feeling. It was sort of illogical in a certain way, because you go in there feeling tired, you feel like you don't want to do anything, you just want to sit down in front of the television. For me at the time, I was drinking, so just wanted to sit down and have a couple of beers, relax in front of the television and do nothing. But doing those physically demanding exercises really gave me a strength, and you know, I'd come out like I'd been on drugs, you know, it was like flying, you know. And that's why I'm so convinced that no matter what it is out of life that you want to get, you can find those highs, you can find the buzzes that you want in life just by doing something physical or mental, you know, that you can find those natural highs in life, you know. You just have to push yourself past a certain boundary, you know, push yourself through a wall, you know, a false wall that's there, but a wall that we put up nonetheless. And once you can push yourself through that wall, you can find the things that you're looking for, you know, and much better, much better. I mean, I'd much prefer to have that buzz and that high that I had coming out of those classes than I would have ever, you know, just sitting in front of the television drinking beer, you know, and getting wasted. Now, a quote that really struck me was from a guy called Hal Borland, and it says that, knowing trees, I understand the meaning of patience. Knowing grass, I can appreciate persistence. And this is, you know, for me, I was in forestry for 10 years of my life, and I got really, it was one of the best jobs that I ever had in my life, because, you know, I was out in nature, I was doing something which I loved doing, and yeah, it was sort of like a free spirit sort of a thing. But now the first part of this quote, knowing trees, I understand patience. You put a tree into the ground as a sapling, or even as a seed. It takes a long time before that tree grows and matures and grows into a fully grown tree, right? And one of the best books I've ever read about trees was a book called The Biography of a Tree, and it was written from the perspective of, you know, if you were writing a biography about a person, about an individual, and you were talking about them from their birth and how they went through their childhood and their teenage years and their college years and so forth and so forth. And you know, this started out as a tree, as a seed, and gradually grew into a sapling, and eventually it grew into an old oak tree, you know, reaching out above the canopy, and eventually it was struck by lightning, and a big hole in the side, and the hole festered, and the hole got bigger and bigger and bigger, and blah blah, and then eventually the tree lost its stability and cracked and fell to the ground. But then the life continued after the tree had died. You know, the whatever had fallen off the tree, the seeds that had fallen off continued again. So it was just an interesting perspective. But it was over, you know, a person's lifetime might be 70, 80, 90 years. This thing was over 300 years, right? This tree had grown for 300 years. So the point is that when you're quitting drinking alcohol, when you're doing anything in life, one of the things that you need the most is patience, right? You know, when you're starting out on this journey, things are not going to happen very quickly. You know, you've got to focus on There's so many things that you've got to do in order to move yourself from the person that you are now, the drinker that you are, into the person that never thinks about alcohol again, right? That thinks on a completely different level, that thinks about who they want to be, the person that gets up every day and is buzzing because of the things that they're going to do that day, the improvements that they're going to make, the steps upwards that they're going to make, you know. They're moving inexorably towards their goals, towards their targets that they want to achieve, you know, whether those targets are at the end of the week or at the end of the month or at the end of the year. And like a tree, you know, you've got to not only have persistence, you've got to feed and nourish the tree in order for the tree to grow, right? And it's the same thing with yourself. You've got to feed and nourish your own body in order to extend the quality of your life and extend the quantity of your life, right? You've got to feed and grow your mind. You've got to educate yourself in order to grow your mind, you know. You know, I don't believe in that. You know, a lot of people, once they get out of school, that's it. They stop educating themselves. And, you know, it's a big mistake, because, you know, education is something that you keep doing regardless, you know. And whether you're learning how to do something good with your life or you're learning how to do something bad, you're still learning, right? It's still a learning process, and we're learning animals. So, you know, it's up to you to sort of self-direct and manage that learning so that you're sort of, you know exactly what you're going to learn, you know where that learning is going to take you, what the outcome of that learning is going to be. And, you know, patience in itself is a skill, you know. Having patience is a skill that you can learn. It's not something that you get. I mean, you don't see a kid that's patient, you know. I mean, some kids are more patient than other kids, but in general, you know, babies are fairly impatient, you know. When they want feeding, they want feeding, and they take that impatience into their adult life. And they take that impatience into their toddlers, and then into their childhood, and then into their teen years, you know. And gradually, I mean, you know, they learn to become patient because, you know, there's other people around them. People don't tolerate impatience, right? So they have to learn in order to learn that patience. But it's a skill that you learn. It's a skill that you can add to as adults, you know. And the second part of that quote, knowing grass, I can appreciate persistence. I mean, think about grass, where grass grows, right? Grass grows whether it's on a lawn, and it gets walked all over, all the time, you know. People walking on the grass. It grows in the most unusual places, right? It can grow through concrete, it can grow through rocks, it grows wherever there's a crack. Grass will grow. You know, grass is persistent. Grass will, you know, if it's burnt, it will grow again the next year. And persistence is another skill that you can learn. I mean, persistence starts out with a commitment. So you have to have that 100% commitment, first of all. You have to take the choice, make the decision. This is what I'm going to do. I'm committed to doing this, you know. And commitment doesn't mean to say that you're not going to make failures. You're not going to have defeats, right? But it does mean that when you do have a failure, when you are defeated, that you get back up and you start again. You carry on with the journey. You know, you're never going to have to go back to the beginning again because of what you're learning, because you're all the time educating yourself, right? You're educating yourself in a positive way. You're directing your own education, right? You're directing your own skill getting, you know, and it's through that commitment and having that persistence that you're going to step up to the next level and the next level and the next level. You know, like I say, there's always going to be a failure. There's always going to be obstacles in your way. You know, there's always going to be obstacles, whether that's in the form of an environment, your thoughts, the people around you. There's always going to be obstacles in one form or another. But it's having the commitment and having the persistence to go, doesn't matter what obstacles come in my way. Doesn't matter, right? I'm going to step around those obstacles. I'm going to dig under them. I'm going to climb over them, or I'm going to plow the fuck through these obstacles, right? I'm going to break these obstacles apart if I have to, right? But I'm going to persist with my journey. This is where I'm going to go. And that's the thing that you have to keep doing. And the more you do that, right, the more self-confidence you'll get, the more satisfaction you'll get in your own abilities, the more you'll be able to pat yourself on the shoulder, right? And say to yourself, job well done, you know? The more self-confidence you'll get to persist more, to carry on, to take the next step up, to get even further out of the clouds to start looking around and just seeing a different perspective entirely. You know, persistence builds inner strength, right? Inner strength builds more persistence. And without persistence, where are you? Where are you? You're nowhere. You're not going to achieve anything, right? You're not going to be able to quit drinking alcohol without persistence, because if you don't have that initial commitment and you don't have the persistence to uphold that commitment 100% and to push through any blocks that you find in your way, right? If you don't have that, if you don't develop that, then every time you try and do something that's difficult, you're going to pull back and go, well, I'll do it tomorrow, because it's easy to go down to the pub, right? It's easy to go down to the liquor store and get a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of wine and sit there and give in to your temptation, right? And then where are you? You're weakened by your own inabilities, right? You're weakened by your own lack of persistence. You're weakened by your own lack of commitment. You know, I remember reading somewhere that somebody asked a journalist, or somebody asked Einstein what the capital city of a certain Eastern European country was, and he couldn't answer it, you know, and he said, I don't know. And this fellow said to him, well, you know, you're supposed to be a genius, how come you don't know this? And he said, well, you know, I don't know everything, you know, if I want to know facts like this, I'll go to an encyclopedia. And, you know, Einstein said that he wasn't that smart. He said he just stayed with problems longer. You know, that when he had a problem, he just stuck it out and he persisted. He had a commitment to a certain line of thinking and he just stuck with it, right? Longer than anybody else. And that's how he was able to come up with some fantastic ideas. But remember that, you know, like I always talk about cornerstone habits, and that's one of the cornerstone habits that you can always develop in your life is this persistence and commitment. Once you get that into your head that you can't achieve anything without the commitment or the persistence, it becomes a cornerstone habit. You know, quitting drinking alcohol is a cornerstone habit in itself, or what you replace it with is a cornerstone habit. So, you know, drinking alcohol in the first place is a cornerstone habit, right? It allows you to branch off into other different bad behaviors, right? Other areas where it doesn't take much thinking to get to other places, you know, eating shit food, not exercising enough, not exercising your brain enough, blah, 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 on and on and on, right? Same thing when you quit drinking and you refuse to take that route anymore. It becomes a cornerstone habit. It becomes a part of you that you say, I'm not doing that, you know, regardless of what happens, I am not ever drinking again. No. I'm not doing it. I'm persisting with the discomfort, right? The discomfort is going to pass, and that's it. Me, onwards and upwards. End of story. Leave it there. If you have any questions, I'll leave them down below. Come on over to the website and sign up for our Quit Drinking Alcohol Starter Pack. It's the Alcohol Mastery Starter Pack. It's absolutely free. There's 3 different courses, 3 different ebooks that are going to help you to make this journey. I mean, if you've already signed up for that, then fair play to you. If you want to support Alcohol Mastery, you can do so by going over to patreon.com, typing in Alcohol Mastery into the little search box at the top of the website. And for anyone who's already supported us, we've got a lot of support. I think there's nearly 80 supporters now. 80 people are patrons of Alcohol Mastery, and thank you very, very, very much, because you know this is helping us to sort of helping me take things to the next step. I've got a transcriptionist now, so I can say us, you know, but you know, I really want to make Alcohol Mastery into something which is helping a lot more people than it's helping today. And I know it's helping a lot of people now, the philosophy, but I just want to try and bring in some other people who are good, very good, very, very, very good at what they do, and that can take the website to the next level. So anyway, until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Take care of yourself. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Onwards and upwards. Take care. Bye now.